Hello, friends. The 730 days of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. A high tempo of hostilities remains in the Bakhmut sector, where the Russians are trying to advance towards Chasiv Yar. According to Ukrainian telegram channels, the Ukrainian armed forces repelled attacks east of the Avdiivka railway station and in the Popovsky forest area. East of Yevhenii, Russian troops occupied the remaining buildings on the territory of farmers' fields. In Yevhenii itself, the enemy managed to take control of part of Sadova Street. Enemy advances were recorded in an area up to 1.15 kilometers wide and to a depth of up to 950 meters. Heavy fighting continues in this area. In the Avdiivka sector, the Russians are increasing pressure. The enemy advanced west of the Avdiivka coke plant along 3 forest belts in an area up to 1.8 kilometers wide and to a depth of 350 meters. Also, the eastern part of the village of Yevhenii came under enemy control. Here, the advance of the Russians is recorded in an area up to 2 kilometers wide and to a depth of up to 1.75 kilometers. A lieutenant of the Ukrainian armed forces with the call sign Alex confirms that the Russian army is now trying to bypass Lastichkini, which they failed to capture in a frontal attack, from the south through Yevhenii and the north near Orlivka. According to him, the Russians have success in both directions, especially in the south. Meanwhile, Bild says the Russian army has captured the village of Stepovy, northwest of Avdiivka. According to military expert Julian Ropke, the Russians managed to gain a foothold in the destroyed village, while Ukrainian armed forces withdrew to Berdichi, 1.2 kilometers to the west. Ukrainian strike raids, which previously reached the western part of Stepovy, are now carried out from the eastern part of Berdichi. The Russians have either built their own fortifications on the western tip of Stepovy or are using trenches built but later abandoned by Ukrainian troops, Ropke states. In my personal opinion, Ropke's statements are premature. Apparently, he made this conclusion because of the published footage of the 47th Brigade. In the video, an American Abrams tank is shelling Stepovy. The fact is that these tanks protect as much as possible. That is why the tank fires at a great distance from a populated area. In the Marinka sector, the defense forces, during a counterattack, pushed back Russian troops from 2 streets in Pobieda, Ukrainian telegram channels report. Ukraine will face potentially catastrophic shortages of ammunition and air defense assets by spring, according to internal U.S. estimates. Unnamed American officials told ABC television about this. The channel's interlocutors called the end of March a particularly decisive time for Ukrainian troops if Congress does not approve a project with funding for Ukraine. Another official said it would be difficult to pinpoint when the situation might worsen for Ukrainian troops, but said the shortage was expected to continue to rise until the spring. The tipping point is starting now, and it will gradually worsen through the spring and into the summer, so this period that we are entering is critical, a U.S. defense official said. Officials say Ukraine urgently needs both small and large munitions, including GPS-guided missiles for the HIMARS systems. But the Ukrainian authorities have a solution to this problem. If there is no help from the United States, or it is less than promised, then more Ukrainians need to be mobilized, said Yevhenii, head of Zelensky's Servant of the People faction. If there is less help, we will need to mobilize more people. If there is more help, then the armament ratio increases, and then you need fewer people, because you can cover some sections of the front with conventional weapons, and you don't need as many people, he said Yevhenii. He admitted that taxes would be changed to finance the training and equipment of these people. Yevhenii believes that in the end, not 500,000 Ukrainians will be mobilized, but less. He says there is no choice not to do this, since the existing brigades are seriously short-staffed, in some places up to 40%. According to him, this is due to rotation, not losses. Zelensky, in an interview with Fox News, said, "Will Ukrainians survive without the support of Congress? Of course they will, but not all of us. And if we understand this price, if the world is ready for this, then you will see it. This is a tragedy for everyone, not just for Ukrainians." Here I think there is no need to explain to you the logic of the government and what it will look like, unfortunately. Friends, preparing these daily reports has become my full-time job, and I have no other job for obvious reasons. There have been few views on the channel lately, which is why I ask for your help. If you have the opportunity to support me financially, I would be very grateful. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.